Hi everyone. In this video, I will touch about capital budgeting part 2. Okay, so in this capital budgeting part 2, we'll be looking at the last method for the capital budgeting analysis, which is payback period. And then we will look into types of cash flows. So we have non-conventional and conventional cash flows. And then we'll be looking into independent project and also mutually exclusive project, and lastly is the decision making. Okay, payback period. So basically payback period, this is when, right, with the forecast future cash flow, we want to know when or how long does it take for the company to recover their initial costs, or in other words, when they will break even. Okay, so for payback period, the better, the shorter, the better it is. Okay, shortest time frame meaning with the expected future cash flow, you are able to recover your initial cost. Okay, or in other words, you are able to break even with your initial cost. Okay, so basically, the method, okay, on how to do the payback period. First, you need to estimate the cash flows. Okay, as in like in your case, the forecast cash flows has been given, and then from these, then you have to extract the future cash flows from the initial cost until the initial investment is recovered. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, the payback period is the break-even type of measurement. Now, next, in terms of decision rule, okay, you will proceed with the project if the payback period is less than some preset limit. So meaning here, companies, they already have their own standard payback period. So in regards to the decision rule, so you have to compare with the company standard limit. Okay, if let's say it takes longer, example, okay, the company already mentioned that, okay, for whatever future expansion, okay, for the capital budgeting, we need to ensure whatever project, it must be, the payback period must be maximum 3 years. Okay, if let's say more than 3 years, then you will reject. Okay, so less than 3 years or exactly 3 years, then you will accept. Okay, so that is the decision rule. Okay. Okay, now let's look at this sample project data. Okay, we'll be using this, the same example as in the part 1, to calculate the payback period. Okay, so you have all these cash flows. Okay, year 0, this is where you have your initial cost, initial investment. Thus, in year 1, your cash flow is negative because it's an expense. Okay, and meanwhile, in year 1, year 2, and year 3, you have positive cash flows. So meaning you have cash inflow. Okay, all of these are the cash flow, and meanwhile, these are the net income for the stated year here. This is the net income year 1, year 2, and year 3. Okay, then we have book value, and the required return of this investment is 12%. Okay, now let's look at the method on how to calculate payback period. Okay, now, so you just list out the year 1, year 2, year 3. Okay, so this is the cash flow as in the data stated here, okay, from the previous slide. So now, I encourage you guys to do this using Excel. Okay, so I will demo this using Excel on how to calculate the cumulative cash flows here. Okay. Okay, so we just put the year first. Okay, cash flows. Okay, this one cumulative cash flows. Okay, cumulative cash flow. This is year 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the first year is 165 63120 70 800 or 3 years and 91080. Okay, so there is none here. Let me make it bigger. Okay, now, right, so we came first. Now, next one, this is cumulative. So what you need to do, right, every year you need to add the cash flow, the projected cash flow here. Okay, logically, right? Okay, now, so in the year one, in the year zero, this one, you come up with your own funding in order to proceed with your project. Okay, so this is your initial investment or initial cash flow. Okay, now next, in the year one, you already have positive cash inflow, extra cash, which is 63,120. So cumulative, so basically cumulative, you need to add. Okay, this is your current cash flow is a negative, okay, and then you plus with the cash flow that you receive in the year one, which is 63,120. Okay, therefore at the end of year one, right, remember when we calculate the payback period, our motive, we want to know when we just break even. Okay, so basically our goal is to find, when we calculate later on, when we look at the cash flow here, the cumulative cash flow CCF, we want to find when is the cumulative cash flow is equal to zero. Therefore this is the break even lah. Okay, break even is the you want to know when, so basically this is your payback period. Okay, so you want to know when. Okay, so I just add lah. Okay, now, so with this positive cash flow, so at the end of year one, you still need another 101,880 to recover your initial cost. Okay, and then moving on to the year two. Okay, therefore you add another cash inflow of 7,800. Okay, so when you add at the end of year two, you still short of 31,080. Okay, remember, you need to know, your motive is you want to find the CCF is equal to zero. So now you repeat the same steps. Okay, so lastly, only at the end of year three, right, you already have positive 60,000, meaning you already recover your initial cost, yeah, at the end of year three. So as you can see, okay, this is year two and year three, somewhere along the line here, but not exactly at year two, but not exactly at year three, but it's somehow around between year two, 2 years plus. Okay, so it's somehow around 2 years plus that your cumulative cash flow is equal to zero. Okay, somewhere around here lah. Okay, somewhere around here, this is your cumulative cash flows, 2 years plus. Okay, so therefore for you to calculate your payback period, so I write short form. So payback period okay, okay, equal to, okay, it might be 2 years plus. Okay, now how to know? You have to know the exact time. Okay, no need to convert it to month or what. Okay, so how you know? Okay, now you know it must be during 2 years plus. So 2 years plus. Okay, in bracket. Okay, you take the shortage amount here. Okay, you take the shortage amount here, but you ignore the negative sign, which is 31,080. You need another 31,000, right? And then you divide with the next year cash inflow. Okay, so which is 91,080. Okay, so this is the workings. Okay, therefore, I use Excel to calculate it. Good guys. Okay, so basically the 2 years plus is 2.34 years. This one in years. So meaning for this particular project, it takes for the company 2.34 years, okay, to recover their initial cost, or in other words, to break even with their initial cost. Okay, so remember, so steps for you to calculate the payback period. First, what you need to do the cumulative cash flows. Okay, you accumulate the cash flow on a year-to-year basis. Okay, So once you're done with that, then you look the intersection between positive and negative cumulative cash flow. You find the intersection. Okay, so like this one, the intersection is between year 2 and year 3. Okay, remember our motive is this. You want to find when this is exactly 0. It's somewhere around here lah. 2 years plus plus. Okay, so then you use 2 years, right? But not 3, yeah? Because if let's say 3, you already have extra, okay, positive, okay? You already, it's no longer break even. It's already have extra, okay? So therefore, you know that it must be 2 years. So you take the amount here, the shortage here, okay, but you ignore the negative sign. So 31,080 and then divide with the future cash inflows. So this and this, okay, to find the this part, to find the 0.34. So this is the working just now. Yeah, that's how we do for the payback period. Okay. Okay, now if let's say the company has some preset time, okay, this one, do they mention? Yeah, they don't mention the preset time, okay. But if let's say they mention, then you have to, well, this one got 2 typo here. Then if they mention that you need to compare it lah, okay, compare with the company standard time, okay. Okay, now for the, however, right, you can use payback period as a guideline, but not as your final main decision whether to proceed or not, okay, because payback period, they have their own disadvantages as well. Okay, basically in terms of calculation, it's quite easy to understand, it's quite easy to calculate, okay. And then here you adjust for the uncertainty, okay, of the later cash flow that you will receive, and also bias towards the liquidity of the company. Okay, but however, there are many disadvantages. Okay, first thing first, they ignore the time value of money. Okay, as you all know, the cash flow, the expected future cash flow, the forecast cash flow, it won't be the actual value as in that particular period lah. Okay, as you know, 100 today will be more than compared to the 100 in the next 3 years lah. Okay, and then next one, it's require an arbitrary cut-off point. Okay, so arbitrary cut-off point meaning basically, okay, in regards with the arbitrary cut-off point, so basically this is they stated that they have the company stated that they have their own cut-off time, right? So that is one of the disadvantages lah. Okay, so okay, next, number 3, cash flows beyond the cut-off date. Okay, so let's say lah, your cash flow, let's say they mention that the cut-off date, okay, it must be within 4 years. If let's say more than 4 years, okay, we don't accept it. Okay, so basically company, they don't look at the future cash flow after their cut-off point. But sometimes because some of those are only forecast cash flow, and there's a possibility for the company to have more, the forecast cash flow will be more at the later year after the cut-off date. Okay, next one, the disadvantages of the payback period, bias against long-term projects such as research and development and new projects lah. Okay, so company need to look into this factor as well lah. Okay, next one. Okay, now we look at this test your understanding, okay, for the payback period. Okay, this is an extension from the this one, from your capital budgeting part 1. Okay, it's the same one, so I will just copy and paste all of this. Okay, to calculate the payback period for this Noel Corporation. Okay, now I will just delete this one first. Okay, so these are the cash flows of the Noel Corporation. Okay, so now first we calculate the cumulative cash flows. Okay, so the year 0 you have an outflow, okay, you of negative 550. Okay, you need to remember your cumulative cash flow here. Your motive is to find the break cumulative cash flow is equal to 0. That is your goals. Okay, so you want to know when this is break even. Okay, so now you repeat the same state, year 1. Okay, before this you still short of 550, so you add the cash inflow of 50,000 in year 1. So at the end of year 1 you still short of 500,000. Okay, and then after that you proceed with the next one. Okay, so then you add another 120,000 in year 2. Therefore at the end of year 2 you still short of 380. Okay, next year 3, okay, you add the negative 380 plus with the current cash flow in that year 3, 250. So at the end of year 3 you still short of 130,000. Okay, lastly on the year 4, okay, with the shortage of 100,000 you plus with the cash inflow in year 4. So at the end of year 4 you already have positive number, which is 170,000. Okay, so after we're done with that, then right, we find the intersection of the negative and positive cumulative cash flow. So the intersection is somewhere around here. Okay, so meaning somewhere around here, this is where your cumulative cash flow equal to 0. It's not at exactly at year 3 and also not at the end of year 4, because at the end of year 4 you already have 170,000. So it must be around 3 years plus for you to just break even with your initial cost of 550. Okay, so now the intersection is in here. Okay, so it's somewhere around here lah. Okay, 3 years plus. Okay, so therefore for your payback period, okay, payback period equal to, okay, 4 years plus 4 years. Wait, hold on, let me change the font size. Okay, so it must be 4 years plus. Okay, so 4 years plus. Okay, as I mentioned, first thing first, okay, you know that it will be these two, right? Okay, it must be around here. Okay, and then therefore you take this, okay, meaning you take the, but you ignore the negative sign. 180,000 divide with 300,000. Okay, the cash flow, cumulative cash flow year 3, and then divide with the cash flow as in year 4. Okay, you divide that, yeah, but remember you ignore the negative sign. If you don't ignore this, then you won't get the same answer. Okay, so then sorry, it's not 4, this is 3. Yeah, sorry, this is 3 years, 3 years plus. Okay, so therefore 3. Okay, yeah, okay, now I hold on. Divide. Okay, so therefore here the payback period is 3.43 years. Okay, so this is the payback period of this Noel Corporation. Okay, so for Noel Corporation, we look back at the question, so they don't mention here when lah. Okay, so if let's say they mention, then you need to compare. If let's say this one takes longer, then you reject. If let's say it's shorter before the kind of set by the company, then you should proceed. Okay, so that is how you calculate for the payback period. Okay, so I will see in the next video for the decision making.